Hold on. Sorry, something on my computer is making sound, so I'm trying to turn it off. Okay, hello, welcome everybody. Um, Thank you for coming. I think we can start and just kind of introduce ourselves first and talk about what we do and how long we've been in the business. I'm Katie Good. I am the operations manager for a team here at Keller Williams Consultants in Columbus, Ohio. I have been with my team for 10 years next month. And I pretty much do everything in the world of operations and admin. So I do all of our transaction management. And then I do all of our operations stuff like creating buyer guides, planning client events, tracking our metrics, all that kind of stuff. And then I also manage all of our social media. So basically a little bit of everything.
And I am Emily Gregory. I'm the operations manager for our small but mighty team here at Keller Williams Legacy Group in Central Kentucky. It's just me and my agent. She's on this call with us. And we work really, really hard in a very short amount of time. We try to be very consistent. We try to hit our goals and we cheer each other on along the way. Um, let's see, I have been with her for 7 years. She's been an agent for 21. Is that right, Stephanie? 21? Yep. So she's been an agent for 21 years, and I stepped into this role 7 years ago. I am also a licensed agent, so we are considered a team. And so I'm also a licensed agent, so I do show houses and do um, a little bit of selling. But mainly my role is the operations manager. So today, me and Katie are going to talk to you about all of the pillars of our business. And so Katie and I talked on the phone the other day and kind of said that the main things that we like to focus on are, um, we're going to call them our pillars, our transaction management, the client experience, and then really what systems we have put in place for our team. And then at the end, we'll take some questions. And we have some documents to share with you all as well, so you can really see how we operate and how we function. So, um, Katie, you want to start with what you do for transaction management?
Yes. So we right now my team only has my rainmaker and then one other agent, but we've had up to like 12 agents on our team. So I kind of built out my transaction process to be able to handle a high volume at once. So for me, I operate pretty much, I think I can share my screen, right? I operate a lot out of Google Sheets and Google Workspace for almost everything that I do, just because I can keep everything in one clean, nice place and it's easy for anyone to access anywhere. And it's pretty user friendly for if you have people on your team that aren't like super techy. So for my transactions, I actually just run everything off of oh, I'm probably like showing a private conversation. Hold on.
Okay, everybody close your eyes.
So I operate off of a very simple checklist. We go through and we review this almost every time, like every 6 months, but this is a buyer and contract checklist. So basically, I went through a transaction and thought of every single step that could possibly happen. And I created this checklist here. And then I have the assignee, whether it's something that me as the admin is doing or the agent is doing. You can see the work is very heavily on the admin side once we get into contract. So our goal is that once an agent puts a house in contract, they can go right back out and sell another house and they don't have to spend time doing any of this and they can really leverage, the admin team to get this done. So I'll just go in here when I have a new contract and I'll create a copy and name it, whatever the address is and just put in all the due dates. And then as I do them, I can check it off. My rainmaker can go in and see what I've done, what I haven't done. Um, this is kind of like the back end side of it. And then for the client facing side for transaction management, we actually use Folio. So it's connected to Gmail and basically it generates a transaction timeline and it You can share it with your clients. It's really pretty looking. And that's kind of the client facing side, so they can keep their eyes on all those dates. And then all of
Mhm.
these steps in here, if there's something that says an email like that, I have a saved email template in my Gmail. So like intro email to title company, intro email to buyer. I just created all those templates so that in the morning when, I'm processing new contracts, I'm not sending, having to type out 10 emails. I just pull in the template, plug in their names, any dates or anything like that, and send it off. The goal is always with transaction management for me to try to communicate as much upfront as possible so that I'm getting less calls and questions about things as they're happening. I would rather tell a client something before they have to call me and ask it, if that makes sense. But basically just a really simple checklist is kind of what I work off of.
That's great. I also have a checklist, but mine is different in that I put everything on paper. So we have a Google Drive that we're going to share with you all at the end of this with our systems and checklists, but mine is all on paper. I like to have things in front of me and I like to, scratch things off in front of me. It seems very satisfying. And I have things on here from post a photo on our Google page to email lender, check in with lender. So really, I don't know who on this call is actually an admin, or if you're wanting an admin, or you just like admins. I don't know what you're here for, but basically, if you want to create a checklist for yourself at the start of a transaction, just write down every detail that you do. I even have in here, in my email, I drag everything over so that everything is categorized under an address. So I have in my checklist, make a folder in my Google email. Even though I naturally do it every time, it's something I can check off my list and it's a satisfying thing. So I have, send sellers their documents, post on Facebook page, mark is closed, all the little details that you might just naturally do. If you write it down, you can really ensure that nothing falls through the cracks is the main piece to it.
And
Um,
I will say that my checklist is still like I've been doing this for 10 years and I still will add and take stuff out of my checklist because sometimes you
yeah,
don't know that you need to do something till you don't do it and something happens. So we'll have something go wrong in a deal that like, wow, I never would have thought that I need to double check this or that. And then it becomes an item in my checklist so that I'm making sure it never happens a second time. So it's very much like a learning experience of like, what am I missing? You probably don't know that you're missing something until you miss it and something happens, and that's okay.
yes. And the way that I operate is I assume that nobody else in the transaction is doing their job except for me. So I overly communicate. When I talk to somebody on the phone, I email them afterwards, say, so nice to talk to you. Remember, don't forget to send this over to the attorney, or remember the attorney asked you for this. Did you send that over to them? We basically just assume that nobody but you is doing your job and you're going to be overly communicate and overly do everything in order to have a smooth transaction. Um, I also have email templates. I think that's really valuable. And the main thing I change is the address, the people's names. Like I change that every single time just to ensure consistency with everybody so that, the goal is for your clients to send a referral to you later. And so that the next person has the exact same client experience or the same transaction experience that the first person had. I also have templates in our dotloop. I don't know if you have that, Katie, but I have templates in dotloop set up for us so that when it is time to make an offer or it is time to um, start that transaction, that everything is already filled out for them. So you can put your name, your brokerage, your broker's number, and all your license number. All of that can be pre-filled in your documents, which will save you time. And that's just a nice little perk that you can do for yourself. Let's see. Basically, I feel like everything that you're doing up front of making an email template. Like it's going to take you some time to do that and to mark all that, put all that down and to do your dot loop templates or whatever service you use. But really it saves you time in the long run. Um, yeah, do you have anything else to add to the transactions?
I don't think so.
Okay. I think that the biggest part of our business is the client experience. And like, how many times do you hear from people like, oh, I bought my house, but my agent was terrible or whatever? You really hear that a lot. And so the client experience is such an important thing that we value. And again, that is all a part of your transaction checklist for us. So as far as getting their documents in their email, or if they request things that we get them to them immediately. We do have a touch plan that we'll share with everybody. And the touch plan is just how much communication they get from us during closing, but also post closing as well, because the hope is for them to come back and be a client again. From, let's see, closing gifts, overly communicating with everybody, like I say. We also do birthday cards and anniversary cards. And that can start by, if you don't have a big database, just calling everybody and say, I would love to send you a birthday card when it's your birthday, and writing it down and putting it in a Google Calendar. And that's all you have to do. And then you have it for years to come. You just have to update the addresses. Or it can be at the closing table. And I have a sheet that I put in a file to send to the closing table, and where you are, my agent, she'll fill it out for me and she'll tell me what their purchase anniversary is, what their birthdays are, if they have kids, what their birthdays are, what their pets' names are. I just want as much information as possible to gather on all of our people. How many do you have a big touch plan, Katie?
Ours, like when it written out, I was looking at it before this and it says it's 70 touches, but
Mm-hmm.
really I think there's actually more in there because some of the stuff around like client events that we do, we end up truly doing more
Yeah.
touches than are in, I'll have it in my touch plan that I'm going to send an evite this day and a reminder that day, but then I'm not getting responses. So I send it out like 5 more times than I have
Yeah.
in my touch plan. So it says 70, but I would say it's probably closer to like, I don't know, 85 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. What type of client events do you do each year?
So we usually do 2 like big ones. We're thinking about adding in some more, but we usually do something in the fall, like a fall festival at a pumpkin patch or something like that. There's a place here
Mm-hmm.
that has like pigs and cows and rides and stuff and tractors and hay rides and
Oh,
all.
that's fun.
So we'll rent out one of the like gazebos there and set up food and goodies and drinks and stuff. And then people have to come to the gazebo to get their ticket in to do all the rides and stuff. And they'll chat with us, get some food. That one is always really popular. And then we usually do something in like late spring, early summer. We kind of change up what we do. In the past, we've done like a shredding event, but then we had like an ice cream truck there if people wanted to bring their
Yeah.
kids. We do this year we're doing like minor league baseball game.
Oh,
Um
yeah.
so I like that because it's easy because I don't have to do a ton of work like in terms of setup
Right.
like that. Like I try to find stuff where the stuff already exists. So like the farm thing, I just have to, do all the coordinating ahead of time, but I don't have to get there and set up a bunch of stuff and do all that kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
we usually do like a spring, summer one and then a fall one, but then we do 2 big giveaways instead of doing like in the quarters that we don't do an event, we do a giveaway. So
Okay.
we do like around Valentine's Day, we usually do some sort of restaurant gift card and we'll actually like book a reservation at a nice restaurant and say like, hey, if you don't have Valentine's Day plans, one lucky winner has a reservation here and a $250 gift card. And
Hmm.
we'll do some sort of giveaway in the winter, some kind of gift card or a cool, a Yeti cool or something like that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea. We really like um, load up the end of the year with our events. We have a big Santa party where we I mean, we're sending emails and calling, and we have goodie bags for the kids from Santa, and he's real. He's the real Santa that comes to us. Such a fun experience. Him and Mrs. Claus come, and we started doing actually during COVID when we couldn't all be indoors with each other. We did a drive-through Santa in our driveway,
Oh,
and
wow.
so. But everybody loved it, and it really like kind of people would come up for 5 minutes and then they would leave. And so we could really fit a lot of people in a very short amount of time. So we've continued that because that's a fan favorite for sure. And our clients are taking pictures and posting them and, really highlighting us, which is really ideal. And that's the goal. We also do a pie giveaway. Um, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, we do a big pie giveaway. And that is last year we gave away like 75 pies or something stupid. And people hate taking something from you without giving you something is what we have found. And so there's so often that people will come up to get their pie and they're like, thank you so much. Oh, I wish I had somebody I could give to you. I'm going to think about it. And then they'll come up with a referral later. And so our goal is always to get our clients to give us referrals down the road. And that's through Google reviews or whatever, every little bit counts to move them in that direction to have us be top of mind.
Yeah. So when
Yeah.
we do like, the giveaways for the gift cards and things like that, what we'll do, we don't want to ever force people to like give us somebody to register because we're just trying to show our appreciation. But we'll say like registration is free, but if you give us the name of one person you know who might make a real estate move this year, you get 25 bonus entries or something like that. And
Yeah.
people are like, oh my gosh, for $250, I'll just, give them my friend's name, even if I'm not
Yeah.
thinking about moving. So that's something we do to try to like nudge people towards giving us a referral, but we still
Yeah.
also don't want them to feel obligated to do something because we're just trying to show our appreciation to them too.
Yeah. Yeah. We during our pie, I think it might have been last year, we did if you can whip up a referral for us, we'll give you whipped cream to go with your pie. But people will give you referrals whether or not you give them whipped cream. So um we always too, like if we ever have somebody call and say, hey, I got your name from my friend Katie and she told me to call you. We like at that moment will write a card out to the person who referred them and put just a thank you note. If you have a Starbucks gift card or a lottery scratcher or something, we'll put it in the envelope and send that out just so it's an immediate something physical that they can get in the mail as a thank you for us too. I think that's really important to know that we are thinking of them just as often as they are thinking of us.
Yeah.
So let's see, what do you all do for your closing gifts? Do you give closing gifts?
We do some different things. So, my Rainmaker has been in the business for 50 years, actually.
Oh, wow.
So like 95% of her business is past clients.
Yeah.
And so she gives, like, if it's somebody that we have the seller in, they've been in the house a certain amount of time, we like to give them a like hand painted painting of their home.
Yeah.
But obviously if they just lived in their house for a year, they didn't love their house or something, that's not always good. So we'll do like the cutting boards that say, their last name on it, or like those nice wooden ones that
Yeah.
we do that. For like first time, but we just kind of change it up based on the person. We don't have like a consistent thing that we always do. So for first time buyers, we'll give them like a little basket with like, a tape measure and a little Home Depot gift card and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But we don't have like a consistent client gift that we give to everybody. It kind of depends on the situation.
It varies. Yeah.
We like to kind of get creative with it and have a little bit of fun.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It depends on the
Just like
person for sure.
go shopping.
Yeah. Yeah, we do cutting boards too. And I feel like people really enjoy that, just a customized thing. For our listings, we'll use the professional photos that we had taken of the house and we'll make them into a Shutterfly book.
Mhm.
So they can take that with them at closing. Um, We, being in Kentucky, we love our bourbon here, and so we'll give them a hand painted bourbon bottle occasionally. It depends on the client, really. But again, that's a part of the client experience. I think that that's a good touch to have something in your hand when you walk in.
And we found, especially if it's something that is like a little bit personalized to them, so it's not like, I just have 20 bottles of wine in a closet at my office
Yeah.
and hand it off to you, but I actually like took time to get you a custom gift that is like related to you. I think that really goes a long way.
Yeah, I agree. Um, we also have our clients on neighborhood snaps. And you said you work exclusively out of Command, right, Katie?
Yep. Hmm.
So we have everybody that, I mean, all of our clients, but then also everybody that we know that we have in Command, we have them on neighborhood snaps twice a month. And so that's just putting our name in front of them and positioning ourselves as the market expert. And we also have, I've been sending one newsletter a month, but I took a class, one of the one team classes about newsletters. That was so good. And have just started, this is my second month doing it, doing 2 newsletters a month and changing the content up and what, what they're about. So I haven't seen any complaints yet about my 2 newsletters that I'm sending, but we'll see. Hopefully we have some good results from it.
Yeah,
Do you use it?
we just do one newsletter a month.
Uh,
Um, but I keep hearing more and more people talking about doing more than that, and I'm like, I don't want to. But
I
we do
know.
one newsletter a month, and then we have like another email touch that goes out that's more of like something like remember to set your clocks, like one of those like canned sort of like
Yeah.
emails that go. So we have multiple email touches in a month, but only one is an actual true newsletter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I went to Stephanie and was like, I know that this is more work for me. However, I think that I need to do this. So I'm not often creating more work for myself, but I did this last month.
Yeah. So we
Um,
have our newsletter that goes out to our regular database, and then we change it a little for like a neighborhood farm that we have to kind of include a little bit more hyper local stuff for that farm area. Um,
okay.
and we don't have like a ton of email addresses for the farm, but whenever we send out a postcard, we put a QR code to sign up for like your local neighborhood newsletter, basically. So we're trying to build that up. So I guess I do one newsletter for our regular database that's, all over Central Ohio, and then a really hyper local one for our neighborhood farm.
Okay. We also do I say we, but I don't mean we, do quarterly calls. And the way that I contribute to that basically is I will print out our database and I'll hand it to Stephanie and say it's time to do your quarterly calls. And she will mark them off as she goes. And really, in that situation, she's not calling to say, um, do you want to list your house or anything, or even anything real estate related. She's just calling to say, is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything you need? Do you need a plumber? Do you need, what can I help you with? And so our goal is just to um, be the person that they think about when they don't think about a plumber. They call us for us to tell them who's a good plumber, or I need a roofer. I'm going to call Emily and ask her. And so we just really want to be the person that they think of and just make ourselves an expert in any situation. And sometimes people will ask us and we're like, you know what? Let me get back to you. And then we will find somebody and discover them for them to share their information out.
Yeah. So for our quarterly calls, we try to do the DTD2, where
Okay.
you break up the letters of the alphabet. So it's like this week you're calling, and it's not A and Z because then you end up getting 2 letters that have too many names, but whatever the letters are. So it'll be like
Yeah.
this week you're supposed to call anyone whose last name starts with A or R or whatever it is.
Okay.
I go through and divide it up. And I send like a weekly update email to my Rainmaker that has some stuff about like transactions, wins of the week, stuff like that. And then I'll include like, here are your DTD2 calls for this week. And then the next week,
Okay.
like, did you make, tell me if you did your calls or not, because otherwise I'm adding them to this week's list too.
Yeah.
Just put that in kind of like my weekly update template that I use with her, and I say these are your calls for the week, and
Yep.
out for her. And I'll
Yeah.
give like usually we come up, we do our touch plan for the whole year at the end of the last year. So when we do that, we'll even go as far as like saying for Q1, your DT, D2 calls, your script is like, because we don't want it to be real estate, but we don't want it to be too like, hey, how are you? Like we want to
Yeah.
at least have a little bit of an idea what we're going to say. So we'll write the script out and put it, for each quarter, what we're going to say for the quarterly calls,
Okay.
plan out our entire year.
Yeah. We often, if you say, how's work going? What are you
Mhm.
up to now? They will naturally ask you that question right back. And then they open up the opportunity to talk about real estate. So that's just a good, easy move for you to make.
I also will like creep super hard on Facebook and stuff. And if I see something, I'll text my team and I'll be like, hey, this person's kid just graduated. Like instead of your normal quarterly call them and say congratulations, stuff like that.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm just like creeping in the background on their Facebook pages, trying to see what's going on in their life.
Right. But it's nice when people acknowledge you in real life versus like hitting a like button on
Yeah.
social media. Like they probably don't get very many calls like that.
No, I actually had a client like text me when my dog passed away a couple months ago, and like I was like almost moved to tears that they like just saw that on Facebook and thought to reach out directly. So that's why I'm always trying to like look and see what's happening in
Yes.
our lives, that we can kind of reciprocate that same level of
Yes.
attention.
Yes. I think that during COVID, there was a natural, like, you could call people and just say, how are you doing? Do you need anything? It was more of a natural, like something everybody was going through. It was an easy topic to have. And now that's kind of gone away. And so people are, I don't know, you have to be so intentional about picking up the phone. And so it is like graduation season is a very natural time. Everybody's birthday, call them on their birthday, even beyond Facebook or whatever, way that you wish somebody a happy birthday. But it's so good to just really make a connection with somebody and be their friends. I think that most of our clients, have started as a client and we didn't know them, and now we're invited to their weddings, or so it's just about making relationships as the main thing in our whole experience, so that so that your clients or your sphere, they want to be in business with you, which is for us, our main goal. Yeah. Okay, about our system. Let's talk about our system. I know we talked about it a little bit with our checklist, but
So I try to have a system for literally everything, because I think realtors by nature can be a little bit chaotic.
mhm.
And I just would rather not, I don't want them to, I want there to be a roadmap for every single and a standard operating procedure for every single thing that they do, so they don't go and do something crazy.
Mhm.
And even with like a system in place for everything, they still go and do something crazy like almost every day. So
Yeah.
what I did with my Rainmaker is we went through like every single thing that could happen in the business. Somebody holds an open house, you take a listing, you go on a buyer's appointment, you whatever it would be. And we mapped out like the roadmap for every single thing that you do in that situation so that it's clear what the plan is for everything. Uh,
hmm
we always like to
Yep.
say, like, if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, would the team be able to function?
Yeah.
The answer is no.
No.
But in theory, having everything mapped out and written out in kind of like a playbook for the team, I think would help them be a little bit closer to being able to function if I got hit by a bus tomorrow.
Yes,
Or at
exactly.
least they could hire somebody that could help them function.
Right. They could figure it out if needed. I think the main thing is being consistent no matter what it is you're doing. So if it is a newsletter or social media or emails, whatever it is, as long as you just do the same thing consistently, because like, posting once here and this newsletter here, it you have to just be consistent in absolutely everything. And that can be hard when it's a busier season or, but that is super important. Even like the way that things look, I think is important. So like our buyer and our seller presentations, um, they look very similar. They look like our business cards and it looks like our social media, like just the look of everything. We're consistent with the colors we use and, very branded. You want to make sure your branding is very consistent. Um, and then we always operate that we would treat the $1 million listing the same as we would the $100,000 listing. So they're going to get the exact same level of client care from us that the $1 million one would be, as far as the communication, the photos. It's all going to be the same and consistent for every single price point. Um, I also use ChatGPT for everything.
I do. I do too.
Yeah, so I think really the more you use ChatGPT, I think it's so valuable, and the more you tell it about yourself, the better it is. And I often will say, assume the role of a expert marketing person in Central Kentucky for real estate, or what, I'll like give it a very specific prompt and then ask it what I need. You can also, if you really struggle with social media, you can go and chat GPT and say, make me a 30-day calendar so that I can get followers on social media for my real estate business. And then it will give you prompts, it'll tell you what to post. And that's really helpful. You will need to change them, the prompts, and you'll need to change things to work to you. Reword things ever so slightly because maybe it doesn't make sense. Make sure you proofread because it's not the smartest thing in the world, but it's a great tool for you to use. You can use it to write your newsletters. You can use it to write anything really. I will even write marketing remarks. I will put marketing remarks in there, and then I'll say, make this sound better, make this sound funnier or more professional, or whatever the way that we want, the tone that we want it to be. You can tell it to do all that, and that is a really, really valuable tool for marketing for sure.
And I even like, so we are in the process of redoing our buyer's guide, and I was just
Mm.
trying to, because I haven't redone it since like, any of the NAR changes and stuff like that. And my agents were kind of saying like, we want some more clarity
Mhm.
around the buyer representation thing in here and stuff like that. So I uploaded it to Chat GPT and I was like, edit this to make it, slightly more modern, include a page with language on how the new NAR settlement has affected buyer broker agreements in a way that's easy for buyers to understand. And it
Yes.
generated the page and like went and I'm like, it just like redid my whole buyer's guide for me in like 2 minutes. So
Yes. I love it. I just did the same thing too, and on a form that we have, and it was like, it's like 20 pages. Like, I need the first 6 pages to sound more user friendly. Yeah. And it really is so helpful. And I'm just plugging in the information in my Canva template, but it'll really change the way that you can operate your business at a much higher level for sure. So yeah. I guess we can, unless you have anything else to say, Katie, we can answer questions from the crowd. Let me put in here the Google Drive link that we made for everybody so they can open it up. Let's see how I can do this. Okay, I'm putting this in the chat so you all can open. If somebody can click on it and like give me a thumbs up and tell me that it actually worked. But in the chat is the Google Drive link, and that is our checklist. It's our Perfect. Thank you, Amanda. It is our buyer's guide, it is our checklist, both of our touch plans for our business. I put our listing questionnaires, what we bring to the closing table for how to for how we keep in touch with people for just a piece of paper for you to fill out at the closing table. If that's all you implement, I think it can be really valuable. But our touch plan, it can all be overwhelming, but if you'll take a couple nuggets out of there, I think you could really set yourself apart.
And one thing I put in there is a kind of insane color-coded spreadsheet of, so for me, like for our marketing, since I'm doing so much with our social media and our touch plan and stuff, I went through at the beginning of the year and made kind of a spreadsheet where I put in like every social media post I know that I need to do, every
Yeah.
email that I need to send out, and I have it on a like weekly calendar so I can pull it up each week and know what I need to do. And it's like triggered to color code itself based on if I say like email, text, social media post. So
Okay.
kind of insane. But if you guys do use that, just be sure you do file, make a copy, because if everyone edits the same one, you're gonna be editing each
Mhm.
other spreadsheet because it's a live Google sheet. So
Okay. I love it. I can't wait to look at it all your stuff. I'm going to copy it all.
I love a good color coded moment.
Is there any questions you all have about, we can elaborate on anything more specific that we do, or answer any questions you may have, or ask us if we do something that we didn't say, or
Katie,
any questions?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Emily, my name's Juanita Daniel. I'm
Hi,
a
Juanita.
realtor with New Directions Realty. I've been in the business a long time, perhaps about just over 35 years. And of
That's
course, I've
great.
seen a lot of changes, and you just, I mean, it's just amazing. But one of the things I do want to say to both of you, I see your passion for your teams and for your businesses as well. And it comes over quite clearly. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing what you have today. You know, one of the things that I've learned in this business is that you get by giving. There's always going to be a better way. There's always going to be another way, but you get by giving. I just wanted to extend that to both of you for taking the time, for caring, and literally your passion for what you do. It just exudes. I just wanted to say that. I wanted to refer to Katie real quickly. I think I missed something here. You both were talking about some great ideas about how to, um, you know, get community involved, right? And Katie mentioned something about a farm, and I missed part of that. I didn't understand what they offered at the farm. I wanted to ask you that question, Katie, but then I also wanted to ask both of you. Um, there was a question, or someone mentioned the rainmaker. I'd like to know the definition of what you're calling, if you don't mind, the rainmaker. And then I also, third, and this is final, how would someone possibly ever get someone like both of you? I mean, both of you on their team. I mean, it is so hard. It is so hard. And I really think back over my 35 plus years that if I just had one of you or a part of each of you, um, but in any event, those are my questions. And again, I just want to take my hat off to you both about how wonderful it is that you're taking the time today to be a blessing to us.
Oh, thank you so much for saying
Thank
that. That's
you.
so sweet. So I think I actually mentioned two different farms, and that's probably why it's confusing. So, and I don't know which one you were asking about, but one of the events we do is at a place called Leeds Farm, and it's like a pumpkin patch that has animals and hay rides and pumpkins and things like that.
Okay.
That could have been what I was talking about. It's basically like a fall festival where people can go and they can feed the pigs and they can ride down a slide into a bale of hay and, look at pumpkins and stuff like that. So that's one farm I talked about. Then the other thing I mentioned was our neighborhood farm,
Mhm.
which means it's a neighborhood that we're trying to get listings in that we specifically market to intentionally to try to get business from that neighborhood specifically. So we're
Okay.
sending out postcards at least once a month. We do stuff like we rent an ice cream truck and park it at their park and say they can come one night from 5 to 7 and get an ice cream. We do different little door knocker things that we put on there. So it's just a neighborhood that we want to be like the #1 listing agent in. And so we specifically do a lot of targeted marketing just to that neighborhood that we don't necessarily send to our entire database.
Thank you very much.
As far as hiring somebody, Stephanie Kellerman, she's on here. We just laughed hysterically about this the other day. So I just had my 7-year work anniversary of working with her. And yes, such a big accomplishment. And I was a stay-at-home mom and I called her. She had posted on Facebook and she just said, I'm looking to hire somebody. Does anyone know anybody that wants a job? And so I saw that and I called her and I was like, I'm a stay-at-home mom and I have no qualifications. Like I actually was a cosmetologist before I did this. So I truly have absolutely no experience. And there were times when I was like, I don't know what these words mean. Even this morning, I called her and I was like, can you explain this to me and more like, can you dumb this down for me? Like, I think I want to learn and I want to be an expert and I want to know what I'm talking about. And so I'm not afraid to ask questions. But also, I'm thankful she took a chance on me because I truly have had no experience in what I was doing, but I was like, sure, I could be an admin. I can run your team.
Wow.
I got
Yeah.
it. So I would just see it because we knew each other socially, but not professionally. She was not my real estate agent. I had actually purchased a house right before I met her with somebody else, and didn't have a great experience, honestly. And so
Wow.
now I got to learn from her on what a good client experience would be and how to make it even better together. And so we've your team leader and see, and maybe they can recommend somebody to you.
So one thing I'll add to that too is we see this a lot in our office where there are agents that are very passionate about real estate and want to be in the real estate business, but they are just maybe not cut out for sales and they don't realize that till they're licensed and they've kind of worked a little bit and are not really in production, but they definitely want to still work in the real estate space. And it could be that they actually have the personality type to be more of an operations person or an administrative person, where they, are really passionate about real estate and the experience in the business, but they're just not a salesperson. And I think there are a lot of those people out there, maybe within your brokerage or people you've done deals with before, that they just, the right connection is out there waiting for you to kind of find them.
Juanita, a rainmaker is the person who runs the business or the team who hires the assistant. So at Keller Williams, the rainmaker is the producing realtor who then hires the team members.
Yes, thank you, Stephanie. I forgot about that question. Yeah, so they are the person that makes it rain. They are the person in charge. Does anybody else have any more questions?
Hi, yes. Hi, my name is Antonia.
Hi.
I'm the assistant for Lourdes and Joseph GL Homes at Keller Williams, Chicago. And I wanted to find out if you guys use a calendar organization platform like Calendly or anything like that. And if you do, if you can talk more about that.
So I mostly just operate out of a Google Calendar and I try to find like things that integrate with it. So like the thing that I use to generate our clients' transaction timelines syncs with my Google Calendar. So it will put in there like earnest money due, loan commitment due, all that stuff right into my Google Calendar for me. And then the other stuff like marketing and things like that, you'll see in the Google Drive the kind of calendar I made myself that I use, but I don't really use any other like tool or system that is calendar related other than my Google Calendar and my
Yeah,
spreadsheet stuff.
yeah, same. We mainly use a Google Calendar. If I put something on, I will schedule appointments and or closings. I'll like schedule things. I'll put it on her Google Calendar. We do have a Calendly for that's a whole nother conversation, but for recruiting reasons, and we have used Calendly. It's it doesn't always put people in the section that you say I'm free for this hour, and it doesn't always work that way. So we haven't been super thrilled with. I feel like Google is the way to go personally. I also have Google Calendar. You can make multiple calendars in Google. So you can have like your business calendar, your appointments. You can, and then I have a whole separate one for birthdays and purchase anniversaries. And so I can hide that one when I don't want to see it, or show it when I do want to see it. And so really Google is the way to go.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let me read your question. Okay, so for my team, it's just me and I'm a licensed operations person. When I started, I was just operations, and then we moved me towards getting my license. I've been licensed since 2021. And we actually just hired a buyer's agent yesterday. And so he is just now starting. So will be the three of us. And then we do have a transaction management. We have a transaction coordinator that we hire through a separate company because I was getting to the point where it was too many transactions, and so I couldn't give the same level of care to everybody, and so we went forward and hired a transaction company. So that is how our team is set up. For someone wanting to put together a team, what to look for, how to begin, I think anybody that is of the same mindset of you, of course, would be a huge benefit. I think Stephanie, you'll have to correct me, but there's an order of the way that Gary Keller with Keller Williams that he advises you to make your team. So I would suggest number one, read the MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. And so that would be the number one thing to do, because in there, it'll tell you the structure of how to operate your business. It'll tell you, he even advises you on how to split your commissions. If you have a buyer's agent, what your split should be, or how to compensate your admins. It really breaks down everything. And so I would suggest that is your number one place to look, Juanita. Where are you located, Juanita?
Hilliard, Ohio.
Oh, okay. So maybe talk to your because there could be other people in your market center that are wanting to create a team or wanting to be on a team, and also don't know where to start. And so I think that would be a good move to talk to your team leader in your office. And then from there, for sure, get the MREA book, and it really breaks down the structure on how Gary Keller advises us in order to make all of us the most profitable.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Well, thank you guys so much for coming. I'm going to put my email address in the chat as well. So if you have any questions on anything specific that we talked about or want to talk about it more, I'm always happy to help. Feel free to reach out. And I only loaded like half my stuff into the Google Drive so far because it was a crazy morning. So I'll throw some more stuff in there too for you guys. And we just appreciate all of your time.
Yep. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate you. And I'll be in touch. Email us if you have any questions. Open that Google Drive before we shut the chat off, and so you can grab all of those nuggets.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you
Thank-
all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.